My dad was born on an island in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay. It's pretty much no longer there. Might be a little chunk of it, not as big as this room, left. But at one time when he lived there were 300 people that lived there. And I've always been fascinated with that island and the way of life. And I've been out there several times, and I've picked up, pieces of glass and bricks from the foundations and all that sort of thing. And I've interviewed a lot of people like Reverend White, Stephen White, and his wife, who at one time owned all of the island, and he was trying to restore it. And there was one house left on it in those days. And he showed me, or pointed out where my grandfather's house was, or would have been, had it been standing. It's no longer there. And so that just all piqued my interest more and more and more. So I've always been interested, and I've always been interested in the way of life there. So I've gathered everything I could find on Holland Island. So I started thinking, well, that's a story. That could be a neat story, and so that's what inspired me to do that. That's two island boys get drafted in World War I, and they're shoved head first into a world that they know little about. And in the meantime, there's a love interest with one of them, and eventually they go to France and involved in the fighting. And I guess it's the culture, one culture meeting another, probably, in a sentence maybe, perhaps, and how he dealt with that. Yeah, he goes to Alabama for training, and while he's there, they get a Sunday off, and he goes to church. He and his buddy, the two of them were drafted, and they both went to church, and the minister actually sort of befriended them, and his family, of course, was there, and he had a lovely daughter, and that started it all. Yeah, he was torn. What should he do? Should he go down there? Because he actually went down. Well, there's a couple of false starts that he had with her. But one of which, one time he went down and he actually got a job in the town there, and he was happy. Now there's a conflict with Mom back on the island, see. Mom wants him home, wants him to marry an island girl, somebody and he knows there's this girl that madly in love with him back there, but he's never really liked her. But he fell head over heels with Marjorie. But then there was some differences and some problems, and so there's a lot of conflict there. We had the book opening was in the middle of January, the 16th, I think it was. We'd open down at the library here in town, and there were lots of people. I expected maybe 10 or 15 people to show up, and they had a room full, which was really, we had to set up more chairs and everything. And that was really rewarding and surprising to me. Now I know a lot of people that knew what I was doing, but a lot of them were people I didn't know. Anyway, so I kind of got a high on that. So I sat down a couple nights later and I started playing around with a little sequel. And so far I have about 110, 15 pages on a sequel. It's the next generation of